We actually don't know exactly who they were, and they're true stories. We never had the chance to hear them. Think about it. A competition where the winner is killed, people sacrificed to the gods, a civilization fed by blood. But at the same time, an extraordinary world that still amazes scientists today. Despite their short height, what were they hoping to find in the stars? They never saw a horse. They never heard of iron. Yet, they managed to build one of the most fascinating civilizations in history. Now, I want to take you not to legends or myths, but to the real, lived world of the Maya. Right now, standing in the middle of the American continent, you see that breathtaking structure, the Temple of Kukulkan, one of the 7 wonders of the world. Each side has 91 steps, 364 in total. Missing one step? No. There's a small platform at the top that completes the cycle, making it 365 days of the year. And the large terraces on the sides. There are 18 of them, symbolizing the 18 months of the Maya calendar. And the interesting thing is, this calendar was more accurate than the Roman Julian calendar. It differs from the modern calendar by only 17 seconds per year. We are talking about a structure built 1,000 years ago. Truly incredible. Before moving on to the Maya, it's worth knowing that Maya society was not a single kingdom. There were city-states competing with each other. But they all shared a common passion, the sky. They observed the planets and created calendars based on Venus. They aligned their cities and temples with the star clusters in the sky. The brightest stars were almost always matched with their largest buildings, and the dimmer stars corresponded to the homes of the people. And one more fact. Before Europeans arrived, there were no riding animals in the Americas. No horses, camels, or donkeys. People traveled everywhere on foot or by running. Royal messengers could cover 50 kilometers in a single day. City populations could reach up to 100,000. And if you encountered a dwarf in the city, you had to be careful, because dwarfs were sacred to them. They were among the king's servants and sometimes even carried his mirror. You know, the Maya used to adorn their teeth with stone decorations. But it wasn't just for ornamentation. They were actually the first society in history to perform dental implants. They drilled holes into their front teeth and inserted stones. Painful, but effective. And they truly had very strong teeth. They used animal and human hair for stitching. Their appearance could be frightening to outsiders. Large ear spools, body scars, flattened foreheads, and sometimes crossed eyes. Because for them, these were signs of nobility. Boards were tied to babies' heads and beads were hung in front of their eyes. That's why many of the skulls found are elongated and oddly shaped. Some link this to aliens, but it was a completely intentional tradition. And believe it or not, despite their appearance, the Maya were a peaceful people. But they had a dark side. Now, let's look at the sports field. Here, a game similar to soccer was played between 2 teams, sometimes lasting for days. The ball weighed 5 kilograms, and using hands or feet was forbidden. The goal was to pass the ball through the stone ring above. And the most shocking part, the leader of the winning team would be executed. Yes, the winning team. Because they believed it was sacred to offer them to the gods, death was a reward for them. Not every game was like that. They were also played for festivals, celebrations, and entertainment. But especially in matches involving war captives, both the winners and the losers could die. Next to the field was the King's Box, featuring an amazing acoustic design. When the king spoke in a normal tone, the entire field could hear him. Scientists have found coral and marine life remnants in the stones, meaning this acoustic effect was deliberately designed. On the serpent side of the pyramid, there is another wonder. When you clap, the sound echoes back like the call of the Quetzal bird. The sound of this bird, sacred to the Maya, seems to have been deliberately designed. And the most beautiful show. During the spring and autumn equinoxes, the sunlight creates the shadow of a moving serpent on the pyramid steps. This is the serpent god Kukulkan. But Maya texts say that this god was actually described not as a serpent, but as a white human. It is said that he taught them civilization and then returned to the sky. Who knows, maybe it was just a myth, maybe a product of their imagination. But whatever it was, its mystery still remains unsolved. The ironic thing is this. One day the white man did come, but not as a god, rather as an invader. For the Maya, life consisted of cycles of opposites, good and evil, night and day, life and death. The design of the pyramid was planned according to this cycle. At the equinox, Kukulkan appears, then seems to descend into the underworld. It symbolized the beginning of the rainy season. Then as they arrived, darker rituals would begin. Sacrifices with their hearts removed, captives beheaded, people thrown into cenotes. Even today, countless skeletons are still being uncovered. It has also been revealed that the famous artifacts known as the crystal skulls were not made by the Maya, but are modern forgeries. Now let's move on to real Maya life. They had a writing system consisting of 800 glyphs, but only an educated minority could use it. They developed a base 20 number system. But the Spaniards burned most of their books, calling them the work of the devil. There was no money. Cacao fruit was used as a means of exchange. For example, a rabbit was worth 10 cacao beans. Crime was almost non-existent. Those who wanted to do something good or bad would affect the target person's spiritual animal companion. For example, if your spirit animal was a crow, someone wishing you harm would kill a crow. When we arrive at the city of Tikal in Guatemala, we see a massive settlement of 120,000 people, 3,000 buildings, 60-meter-high pyramids. But one day, it was completely abandoned. The reasons: mercury pollution, environmental destruction, and drought. The most interesting thing is this. All of these cities, pyramids, and palaces were built without animals, wheels, or iron. They skillfully worked obsidian stone and moved tons of rock using only human strength. The Maya civilization shows us this. If humans truly want to, they can achieve incredible things with the resources at hand. Unfortunately, the fate of great civilizations caught up with them. Drought, Aztec oppression, followed by the Spanish conquest. Millions died, were burned, or tortured. Their precious artifacts were looted. The white man they had been expecting brought an end to everything. Today they have no state. They may not be as powerful as their ancestors. But in Central America, 7 million Maya still speak their languages and keep their culture alive. They shaped history. They set an example for humanity. Perhaps they were destroyed through suffering, but they were never forgotten. They were the children of the jaguar. They were the Maya,